Mm.
Show's going.
There we go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Dr. Dave.
Good
How are
morning.
you doing today?
Fantabulous. How are you?
I am great. So, welcome everybody to Conversations with the Divas with me, Brenda, and Dr. Dave. And we're so excited to be here because it's always a fun time,
Always.
always an adventure to see what the universe has for us today.
Should be
So,
good. Well,
while we're chatting, I'm just shuffling up the cards here and waiting for some cards to fly out. So, did you have a nice weekend, Dr. Dave?
it was interesting. We'll go with interesting. Yeah, it's been interesting.
Nice.
Odd weather, but interesting.
Yeah, we looked out the window yesterday. It's like it was a blizzard. It's like, where did
Really?
you come from? You were not expected in the forecast.
Wow. We've had
Yeah.
so much rain, and we've got major floods here in our county. Dave, I've got just the damage that we're seeing with all the ice backups and everything else has been just
Mm.
crazy. So
So, is the
it's
ferry running?
yeah, we actually don't have any problems. It's just the smaller streams and rivers that are, inland, because that's where the ice is backing up and
Oh,
it's crazy. But here, like we got nothing. There's clear open water, not even, yeah, I can't actually see any ice.
well, that's good.
Yep. Yeah, I say that now until Lake Superior starts, so then that'll be interesting.
Hmm. So I've got the cards for today. So we are starting off with Citronella. And
Ew.
this represents all the things we currently have, all the resources and things we have within ourselves to move forward. So let's see what the divas have to say today. Wake up, wake up. There is no time to lose. I'm Citronella, and I'm here to remind you that life is short. So make the most of it. Are you putting off something? Making excuses to why you aren't moving forward? Well, my friend, this is not why you chose to be here. You have a spark within you wanting to burn brightly for all to see. What are you waiting for? What are you afraid of? Your life is a gift that you have been given. You are meant to live and dream large. You possess infinite potential. Embrace it. Well, that's a wonderful card to start off with today.
For sure. Mm.
So when I think of this, I think of now we're going to be heading into February shortly. And at the beginning of every year, many people do those New Year's resolutions. They want to make this a better year. And how many have stopped doing them already? And we're not even finished the month of January. So instead of making New Year's resolutions that never seem to stick, it's a good idea to set some goals and make them something that excites you instead of something that it's like, oh, well, I should do this or I have to do this because you're not going to do it. And clearly you know that because you've stopped doing it already. So it's not working for you. But when you create goals and you create things like habits that are going to move you towards your goals for your soul's purpose while you're here, then you have a better chance of achieving those. And the thing is, you don't have to wait till the beginning of the year to start again. Like some
Right.
days you get off track, and that's okay. You just go back on and you keep going and you make a decision. Sometimes you make those decisions one moment at a time and you don't beat yourself up about it. You're just like, all right, today I'm having a me day and I'm going to binge watch Netflix or whatever the case may be. Fine. Then the next day it's like, all right, I'm done doing that. Let's get back on and do my goals. So when you create, and I'm sure we're going to be having something good coming up about that in the future. Right, Dr. Dave? We did one last year and it was absolutely fabulous.
That was awesome.
Our students were just like crazy manifesting. It was so much fun.
Mm,
And they have the tools now to be able to create whatever they want. So we're going to
right.
be doing that in the future. We've got some stuff going on right now, but once that's done, we're going to be offering that course again. If you want to create some goals that are going to last, that are going to move you forward. So when next year comes around at this time, you're not sitting in this exact same space you were before.
Right.
Dr. Dave, what have you got?
You know, citronella is it's fun. To me, it's um most folks think of it that it's only in our candles for outside and for bug repellent, and yes, it is amazing with all of those. However, it's there's so much more to it. And so when we talk about the oils, if you remember to from the emotional level with each of the oils, if you remember why you use the oil that you do or what you think you know about the oil, we know that it's a bug repellent is what is pretty much what everybody has stuck in their head. Great. Okay, well, a bug repellent means that it's you're trying to create a barrier or you are removing um, things that are irritating you. So on an emotional level,
Mm.
citronella is what is irritating you and it's your environment. So citronella oil is asking you to then identify what is it that is irritating you in your environment. And that could be the internal environment. So what stuff is stagnant, what stuff is still buzzing in your head that you need to address so then it can get cleared so that you can really focus on everything. Because if you're not having that clear thought process, then it's going to cloud everything that you're potentially able to do or focus on. So let's get that stuff out of the way so that you can then enjoy the process of whatever it is that you're doing, focusing on, or you're trying to manifest. Um, those it's odd in the middle of winter to think to put in citronella in your diffuser in the house. uh, However, if you know what it's about, it's pretty amazing what it can actually do. So it really is helping you better cope. It's a better coping strategy with the irritants that you have, what you're eh, irritated about, what is frustrating you. It's that chaos, that static energy, that's in there. So that's one of the things that if I'm just like, it's one of those, there's just so much happening and then you can use citronella, even if it's just to smell it, to put it on a little bit, any of that to help you move through that and become a little more, it's giving some of your power back instead of it being diffused across all of that chaos is really what it's doing. It's trying to bring back and invite you to call back all those parts of your spirit that you're letting
Mm.
go everywhere else. So it's all diffused, which also brings down the amplitude of whatever that you're trying to accomplish. So citronella is that one thing that we do have the ability to like, all right, where am I at right now? I'm scattered. Get that oil out. However you want to use that oil. Um, if whether it's just to smell it or, put it in the diffuser, then bring it all back in. Allow it to bring everything back in. So now I can then step forward into that full powered, full embodied energy that is going to be laser focused to do whatever it is that I need to do that's in front of me. Ta-da.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the oils, use them. They're there to be used, not sit on a shelf, because that's not what they're there for. But yeah, they do give an extra layer of assistance, a deeper dive into things than just the cards. So that's why I created them to go together, because you do get that deeper understanding. You're able to move through things quicker. When you use the oils, that's what they're there for. So, and they're very gentle. So until if you use them continually, consistently, look back 3 months from now and it'll be like, oh my goodness, I don't even recognize my life now.
Right.
And that's what happened to me. And that's why oils are just so important. So definitely use them. So
Mm.
I love what Citronella does. Just move that stuff out of the way. It's like Ty when he's like, move the bus.
Right.
Get it out of here.
I love that. That's perfect. I love that. They're all chanting,
So we're
move
just
the
doing
bus.
that and it's like, let's get going, get that stuff out of there. So the next one we're working with is Rosemary. And these are everything that we need to let go of. So as Dr. Dave was talking about the citronella, which helps us move things out of the way, it's good to not only move it, but let go of it. Don't be hanging on by your fingernails going, oh, we can't let go of this. Yes, you can. It's very good to let go of things because you can't hold on to everything, because then nothing new comes into your life. So breathe deep and just be in this moment. Take in the beauty that surrounds you. I am Rosemary, and I open your senses to discover the magnificence of nature in all its splendor. Ooh.
Beautiful.
I can hardly wait for spring to come and spring flowers. But when we look at rosemary, and we're looking at beliefs like, all right, well, what do we need to let go of? We need to let go of the blinders that we have on daily, like the Dunkin' Donut man. Time to make the donuts. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you go to sleep, and you get up and you do it again. Instead of looking outside and really acknowledging all the beauty and all the miracles that you have, instead of, oh, there's nothing good in my life and nothing's going right. Well, if you keep that, that's what's going to happen. But if you look outside, even if things aren't going well, that's the reality you've created up until this point. So you can change it. It's within you to change. And you look outside and you're grateful. Thank you for letting me wake up this morning. Thank you that I'm on this side of the earth this morning,
Right.
Thank you that I have eyes to see. Thank you that I have mobility to be able to get up and move. Thank you for indoor plumbing
Right.
and hot water.
Mhm.
The little things
Mhm.
are big. Until you don't have them, imagine having to use an outhouse in the middle of winter.
Well, thanks.
You would be thanking your lucky stars for a toilet inside. So each thing, even if it's an everyday, you know, what we have in the house now, we have insulation in the houses, we have, heat, automatic heat. You don't have to start a fire in the morning. You don't have to go out and, it's nice to grow your food. And if you have that, but there's a lot of conveniences these days that we just take for granted. So if you can look at those with new eyes and get rid of those old beliefs that it's like, oh, well, that's just expected, or, that's not a big deal. All of these things are big deals. And if you think about it, when you go back to the citronella and those goals, and the people that invented these things that we now take for granted. Could you imagine if they're like, I really don't feel like doing anything today. I've given up. I've tried a couple times. It really didn't work, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Could you imagine your life if you didn't have electricity? If you didn't have heat? If you didn't have indoor plumbing? Life would be very, very different now. But we
Sure.
have all those things because people kept at it and they had a passion for things and they wanted to make a difference. And that was their sole purpose, to make our lives easier so that we could do our soul's purpose.
Right.
See how that
Right.
fits together? It's awesome.
It is.
So Rosemary's asking you to take those blinders off, take off those entitled thoughts and beliefs that you have, that this is just expected, and see everything as a miracle. Because when you start to see everything as a miracle, your life changes. Even if you're doing dishes, you can stand there and go, thank you that I have the hot water and I can wash these dishes here and my hands aren't freezing. And I didn't have to go out and pump that water. I remember when I was younger and I'd go stay at my grandparents', my friend across the street, they didn't have indoor plumbing or an indoor toilet. And I went over there because I was from the city. So being out in the country was a totally different thing. And they had a water pump in the front yard, and you had to pump that up and, put it in a pail and then bring it in. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I'm getting the water. I'm like, oh, can I do that? She's like, yeah, you can. Because that was her chore that she had to do. And I'm just like, pump it away. I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. She thought I'm totally nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they would have to do. And then they had a pail in the house. I'm like, what's the pail for? She goes, that's so we don't have to go out in the middle of the night to the bathroom. I'm like, why isn't your bathroom in the house? So learning all these things, it's like gives you a whole other of appreciation for all the wonderful things that you have. So, take a look around your home and all the things, your car, for instance. I am an Outlander fan through and through, and it boggles my mind. I sit there and contemplate. It's like, okay, they had no GPS, they had no maps. How the heck do they find those different towns? They could be a mile out, you'd never see it, but they find them. It boggles my mind. And then having to traipse across the West to build a home. You can't just go to Wendy's and go, hey, I want to order some takeout or a pizza. You have to, it's a whole, it's just, it boggles my mind. I sit there and think it's like, I don't know if I could do that. It's like, because we have so many conveniences at our hands that was the tenacity and the strength of all those people that just like, we're going west and we're going to build a house and we're going to do this. It's like, holy crap, man.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Meanwhile, it's like, well, I really don't feel like doing anything today. And you're in a car, you're warm. They had horses, they had to, go through the weather and all this stuff. So it's really, sit and think about those. And that's what I think about. It's like, how did they do that? Like, I need my GPS because it's like one wrong and it's like, oh man, where have I gone now?
Right.
Not that I'm lost because I am where I am, so I'm never lost, but mind you, I'm not where I should be, where, it is that I wanted to end up. It's just I'm
Right.
somewhere else. But how they were able to find these things like hundreds of miles and just come upon it, it just
Right.
it blows my mind. So what have you got, Dr. Dave?
Oh, there's so much. That was fun. Thank you for that. I'm not going to try. What I'm going to do is work backwards on
Okay.
that. So, with that whole process of we have an in unimaginable opportunities of things that we get to be thankful for. And that really is what you were talking about, is to look at all of those things that we are entitled now, that we just are believing is just the way it is, because it is. However, we can choose to look at those as all incredible blessings. They can be all these wonderful points of gratitude of all of those. So as you were just talking about, like even just the in our car and then we're warm, and I'm like, oh, the entitlement part. I start my car once I get out of the shower from my watch.
I used to have a remote car starter. My new car doesn't have one. I love that thing. It's like, woohoo, I don't have to scrape up the
Yeah,
windows.
right? But I mean, to think of like go from like you were just talking about Outlander, where they were doing that. I'm like, the reins for the horses weren't heated,
Mm.
because but my steering wheel is, and it's already figured out what the temperature is, whether it needs to turn that on for me or not, just by me saying start on my watch.
And the saddle's not heated anyways until you sit on
Right.
it for a while.
Exactly. Right. But that is so fun to just look at all of those, like, wow. And like I don't get up to turn even the heat in our house. I sit right in my chair and do it on my phone, even though I can see it sitting over there in the hallway. I'm like, it's a little cold. It's ridiculous if we think about how what you
And the
know
remote on the TV. I remember having to get up and change the dial on the TV.
yeah.
And that was work, man. Now it's
Yeah.
like click, 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 click.
Yeah, because like in family, I remember that whoever the youngest usually would have to stand at the TV to turn that, or if they had to turn the rabbit ears on the back
Yep.
to of the TV to get it come in better, so you could get as less snow or static on there as possible. And probably we lost half of anybody that's like from 40 and younger. They have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. Or you had to stand there and hold it because if you let go, the picture went out. So
Yeah,
you
how weird
just
was
have to
that?
stand
Yeah.
there for the whole time and watch TV from your standing position.
So, but then, when you were talking about that, and I was how comical that is of that entitlement part. But then I got the really mind-blowing question for me was, if that's where we're at and we're looking at those wonderful um, conveniences. If we were to hop back into that, we'll use your example, Outlander. No, if we were to be in that character at that moment of time, what are the things that they would have been so thankful for that their ancestors didn't have then, that they have?
Hmm.
Holy good God. Like what like they're great to go to grab the water because they didn't, their ancestors, how did that work for them? What are those little parts that they get to be so what they would have been grateful for? Like, well, at least I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that anymore. Really? That's kind of scary.
That
Because,
is.
so that was fun. Um, gonna rewind back to going back to Rosemary. As soon as you pulled the card, I chuckled because the moment Rosemary, first off for me, the very first thing that I think about is that it's for usually sinuses. For it is one of those. There's a difference between some of the other oils that are about the breathing in the lungs, but rosemary is about breathing, but it's mostly it's super effective on the sinus cavities and being able to open them, um, which also is about irritants to our environment.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, yeah, of course it's right after citronella. How fun is that? But rosemary is that knowledge and transition. That's kind of the emotional um, tag that I usually use for rosemary to think about. So rosemary, it assists in that. the development of true knowledge. So it removes or helps us remove or invites us to remove those irritants that we are letting get in the way of what's actually happening. So it's asking you to go deeper into whatever it is the issue that you're working on right then. So getting to that true intellect of it, not getting stuck on the above irritant, what's really happening. Why is it that this is here? Why isn't this moving? Why am I afraid to do that? Or any fill in the blank. There's a ton of those. Rosemary's telling you there's more here. Don't get stuck on that first layer because that's just the first layer and really has nothing to do with it except for drawing your attention to what needs to happen. That here, please focus here. This needs to change. And so once that begins, now we can actually get that wonderful movement. And we're never getting to that deeper layer if you do not come into that space of grace and gratitude. That's how
Mhm.
we're able to navigate through those different um, emotional frequency layers. So Rosemary is that like, nope, one more further. Don't stay on surface. Let's drop that illusion because it's not what's happening right here. So it's asking for that to take that deeper breath, breathe into it again instead of just stay on that surface. So if we're only doing that breathing, and we've talked about it before, from the very top of our lungs, that short breath, we're never taking that full breath so that we can breathe life into whatever is actually happening, because that's actually where the work is. That's where the magic happens. So
Mhm.
that to me is where Rosemary is that wonderful invitation to let's get clear, clear out any of the things that we think are stopping us or slowing us, because it has zero to do with that. Now breathe into that so we can have the new experience and the ability to then we have the ability to be able to adjust, do a course correction of whatever's actually happening. So that's what I got about
Awesome.
Raspberry.
Yeah,
Yay.
and having um that gratitude sinks you down into your heart, where
Yeah.
you can do that deeper dive and really breathe into your heart and go, okay, what's really going on? So that really helps it as well. So, and we've got Laurus Nobilis again. We had that a couple
Oh,
weeks ago.
yeah.
So that is called Bay Laurel as well. And this is how everything's going to be turning out. So let's take a look here. How is your personal power? Are you feeling connected to source? Breathe in the essence of me, Laurus Nobilis. Feel your upper chakras opening. Breathe out and feel the release of any energy blockages. The time is right for honing your skills in intuition, clairvoyance, and clairaudience. I can help amplify your psychic abilities. Spirit is always standing by to assist. It is only a matter of asking. Well, this tidies it up in a lovely little package
Mhm.
because all you need to do is ask. You just let it go. Let it all go. Breathe it in and let go of those blockages because we all have them. Things come up. And I have been doing this work for almost 30 years. I'm still releasing stuff. It's not a one and done.
Mhm.
It's a journey, and it will happen for my whole life.
Mhm.
So, just when you think, oh, I've released everything from my past. No, you haven't. You've just skimmed the surface. So, using the oils that we discussed, the citronella, seeing what that soul's purpose is, getting back on track, moving the bus, moving all that crap out of there, and then letting it go so it can leave and be transmuted and back to source so that you can do your soul's purpose. So you can really sink into what it is you're here to do. And Laurus Nobilis is like, you have spirit guides, archangels, angels, guardian angels all around you all the time. And all you need to do is ask. If you are struggling with maybe something keeps coming up and you haven't learned what that lesson is and you're kind of confused as to what the lesson is, ask. Just go, having some trouble here. I'd like to move through this and keep moving forward, but I don't know what the lesson is. Could you help me? Sure. They also give you signs. They let you know and give you help along the way. All you need to do is be aware of it. And it's everywhere. And chatting with your guides, talking to your guardian angels, because they're there. You have guardian angels that have been with you since birth. There's ones that come and go. There's ones that help you for certain things. All you have to do is reach out and go, "Can you help me? I'm stuck." And they will be there. But you need to ask because we all have free will. And they cannot step in unless you ask. So it's up to you to connect to source, to sit in that peaceful place and connect within your heart and ask for help. Meditate, ask for help, and it will be given to you. Dr. Dave.
Well done. That was perfect.
Thank
It's
you.
so great. um, y- to me, this is very. I think we do this every time the this one comes up. It to me is it's very similar to from bay leaf to laurel leaf. It's in there to me, even though it's still an evergreen. It is. It comes with a let me just start over. Having a glitch in my head. I don't know.
Ask for help.
Right. So it is it's a triumphant oil. It's asking you to step into that power so that you can be triumphant in whatever it is that you're looking to do, accomplish, and be.
Mm.
So those the the recipe that the divas just gave us is incredible for us to move through every stage of making something manifest the best that we possibly can for our greatest and highest good. It lets us find out what might be blocking it, what we need to let go of, what we need to then install. And then now is the victory of it, of seeing it as though it is already your reality. So feeling what that is, knowing that you are source energy, happen to be in this meat suit that we call the body. And it's but you're still source. You're not separate from. So you have all of the capability, all of the same birthright as every other light being. If we just remembered that one part, we might then begin treating ourselves a little bit differently. To remember that how are you treating source energy? By the way, that happens to be called you. So are you holding it in that vibratory pattern of it deserves, demands, and is so blessed that you get to work through that and feel what that feels like to know that you're not separate from. So take that victory lap of you're able to have all the tools that you need already. You were born with them all. So this oil invites you to step into that wonderful victory arena and take that victory lap. Know it, own it, be it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
A victory lap. Triumphant oil. I like that. Triumphant oil. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really that's the first thing, the first hit, intuitive hit that I get from that is like, oof, I just, I want to like adjust my posture and like sit into that. Like, yeah, I made it. I made it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes we have to do that backwards. Maybe yes, that's what that was when I said I had to do that last one backwards, because sometimes if we don't know how to get to there, we know what it should feel like or what we want it to feel like of whether it's an accomplishment, whether it's a goal, any of those, sit in what that feels like to be that already. Who is it that you are that is 100%? that doesn't need to let anything go because you've cleared everything. What does any of that feel like? What does it feel like operating at your fullest potential? Who is it that you are when you're actually operating on all cylinders and there's nothing holding you back? There's zero resistance and you're just going for it. See what that feels like just for a moment. Take a breath into that. And now we can then do the reverse and start looking like, all right, I know that's where we're going. Now let's find out all of those obstacles that need to change so that we get back to there because that is the reality. Now let's get the work done so we get there.
Awesome.
Ta-da.
We'll be doing a class on that. Guarantee that.
Awesome. Yeah, that was fun.
That was. Well, thank you everybody for joining in today. We'd love to hear what resonated with you and as well where you're coming from and watching from, because that's always fun. So stay tuned because we will be right back with What If and see how that all connects with the Nature's Divas, because it usually does. And yeah, have a
I,
wonderful week and we will see you soon.
take care, everyone. Bye bye.